Hello, this is Bear from Wave. How's it going? Today we're going to look at Bitcoin, and as always, we're going to use the Elliott wave theory and see what's happening and what could be happening. So once again, we're still looking at the same chart, we're still looking at the same possibilities. However, one of them, which is the XY we've analyzed and went over for the past, I would say, couple months, has, in my opinion, found an alternate. Now, here, for those of you who are new to the channel, we are looking at the possibility that we have a top in place. Now, that top you see here is represented at roughly $64,000. You could argue the top is actually here, and I would say that I would agree on that. And here you have 3 ways down, 3 ways up, and 5 ways down. Because you could argue, and once again, I agree with that. Let me zoom in. This looks like a 5-wave move rather than a 3-wave move. Now, with that being said, regardless of where you place that, let's just leave it like that for the moment. Here we are looking at the possibility that we are into this wave 4, and the question now is this correction completed or not? Now, what is in favor of the correction being completed? Actually, here we're going to analyze the XY possibility. Now, we're going to zoom in and focus on the correction itself. Now, if you look at fib relationships, we see how we have reached equality of wave Y and W. Now, if I want to be even more precise, I think that would be the top. Okay, now, a very interesting thing, at least in my opinion, is that actually equality is represented at 34,286 roughly. Now, as you see it, of course, wave Y would be completed here. Therefore, wave 4 would have a bottom here, and this then would have to be some kind of wave 1. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little, and I'm going to show you how I struggle very much to see this as a 5-wave move. I see it as a 3-wave move, and that's also something we went over on the last video. Now, things have changed somehow. Now, if we look at net percentage, I'm going to delete equality for a moment, but I'm just going to leave a mark so that we know. So I'll just paint it green. So green line is equality. Now, let me actually type it right there. Versus Y. So the those were surfing through the video know what I'm talking about. Now, if we look at percentage retracement, we see how this wave B retraced 38.2% roughly. Now, how much did this wave move retrace compared to the whole move down? If we measure that, we see how that is also 38.2%. You could argue it's a bit deeper. Now, one thing I notice is if we move wave C here, if we move wave B here, and wave A here, and place wave Y here with a 4 here, we are seeing something interesting. Now, first of all, we would have equality of W against Y, or rather Y against W, I should say. Here, I'm saying this wave C because for just a second, I'd like to take you to, let's say, the 3-hour chart. I see this as a 5-wave move. not a 3-wave move. I see that move down as a 5-wave move. And I'm going to place that right here. So that would make sense for it to be a wave C. Now, you could argue, yeah, but wave C did not break the low wave A. Now, in an ideal world, that would happen. We do not live in an ideal world. We live in a world where reality is a bit different from what we would expect it. Therefore, it would make sense for wave C not to break this low. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, because obviously I could be wrong and everything could be entirely not true, and we could indeed break that low. However, that of course here we would have an ABC. First, as I was saying, we have equality of Y against W, and you could argue also against this count. You could say, well, but wave C is significantly shorter than wave A. However, we can find a fib relationship between wave C and A of Y. Because look at this, 38.2 right there. So we do have a fib relationship between wave C and A, which is something in favor of this count. Now, for this count to be correct, let me take you to the hourly. Here, I could count 5 ways up. I could say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not the nicest, but yet valid. Here, I definitely see 3 ways down. This could be 5 ways up. We could be in the making a wave 4 and then up for 5. So I want to see one last move higher, and at that point I could start to believe that we may have a bottom in place. Now let's measure. So as we can see, let's assume this is wave 1 and 2, 3 somewhere. We would have to investigate on that wave, that potential wave 3. We reached equality. So equality was actually reached and surpassed. So now I would say this could be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right there. We could be on to wave A, B, and C, and then at that point we could look for further upside. I would say that's a possibility. We reached, as I just mentioned, we reached equality. I would say that around here, ideally, we find support. If not, I would say the next zone of support is about there. If we bring on the fib retracement, we see how that is exactly 38.2, so that's additional confluence. Therefore, we could find support there. And at that point, I want to see, let's assume something like this happens. I want to see one last move higher. And only then we could consider the correction completed and Bitcoin could be ready for all-time high. So I guess that's something to keep into consideration. Now, I'm going to delete all of these because I did it once. I can do it twice. And I want to show you, again, the alternate. So going back to the daily, I would like to show you the alternate, which is still same as it was last week, but ending diagonal. So I don't particularly like this because here we would have a wave 2 like this, and as I mentioned, this move down appears to be like a 5-wave move. Therefore, I struggle to see it as a wave B, which of course has to have 3 subwaves. So that's still possible, I would say. So we could still get something like this and then resume to the upside. So we're flexible. We know both are valid. we acknowledge the fact that the correction, we have no clue, we have no proof, actually, I should say, the correction is completed. We do know that it could go further down, and we are prepared. We have counts for further downside. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you to it. As always, let me know in the comments if there's something I'm missing or something you would change. I'm happy to know what you guys think. And if you enjoy the content, please leave a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe as well if you don't want to miss out on the next update. One little bracket, if you like what I do, please consider subscribing to VVS, which is a academy where I teach. You can find the public Discord in the description of this video. As the name states, it's public, so it's free, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.